Superman issue 19 sees Perry show Lois, Clark, and Jimmy what the insurance agency thinks will happen to the Daily Planet now that word has got out that Clark Kent is Superman. Lois knows that it's ridiculous, since Superman has always been friends with the Daily Planet and been involved since Clark first stepped into the office, and people knew that to get Superman, they need to come to the Daily Planet. Perry understands that, but says because of this, Clark is now fired, since the insurance company has refused to cover them if he is still employed. Clark understands, however Lois doesn't, since people in the journalism industry have worked under pseudonyms for decades. Perry says that that's a little different, and with that said, whatever Clark decides to call himself in print, be it Clark, Superman, Cal, or Chaz, he would like to hire that person full time, since now they suddenly have a position available. Clark wonders what happens with the Daily Planet's reportings on Superman now, and Perry knows that him being there is a huge selling point for them, even convincing the new owner to lean into it as much as they can to get exclusives. Perry wants Clark's answer, wondering what his byline will feature, whether it will be the name Clark Kent or Superman. However, Clark doesn't know, but Lois knows it's the right thing to do to keep it as Clark. Perry warns them though that there's no more quoting Superman as a separate source, and this is just the first of thousands of talks and depositions he needs to have with them regarding how to deal with this. One thing he wants Clark to stop doing is to pretend to miss deadlines thanks to his recent situations. Perry, however, realizes that that wasn't actually an act and knows that he can't afford blowing deadlines from a writer who can actually write at super speed. Clark and Lois explain that they can't really force their writing, and inspiration comes when it wants to, but Perry wants an explanation on the typos that Clark always has in his work, learning it's more of a marital solidarity with his wife, so his work doesn't stand out from Lois's as much. Lois finds that very beautiful as Perry tells them all to leave. Clark wonders if he should make an announcement of some type to the bullpen, but Perry doesn't care as long as Jimmy records it and publishes it. He tells them that from now on though, Clark shares his wife's office, but Clark says he just wants his desk in the bullpen, despite Perry wanting him to have the room for some privacy. Clark thanks Perry for everything and for being a good friend as they leave the office to the waiting bullpen. Trish Q comes up and hugs Clark, introducing herself despite Clark knowing her. She says that she was saved by him a few weeks ago, and up until last week she was just a gossip columnist. That was before Robinson Good disappeared, and now she is on the City Beat desk, which was Clark's old desk. She shows Clark and Lois the picture of Lois kissing Superman, saying that she's been sitting on this for a while and it's been bothering her, since she thought maybe she wasn't being a good gossip journalist, but she knew in her heart that she was being a good friend for sitting on it. Clark hugs her back as the bullpen begins clapping. Clark makes his rounds, hugging more of his fellow journalists, and later takes off into the skies of Metropolis, where even the people begin to clap for him. Clark didn't know if he was going to get booed out of Metropolis, or arrested, or condemned, or have his apartment under siege, but none of that happened, and he finally has been able to tell the truth. As he saves a crashing cab, he eavesdrops on his rogues, but none of them are throwing tantrums like he thought they would. Heading to the Hall of Justice, he knows that the worst people are sitting quietly in wait, but right now everyone he knows and loves is safe, so he goes to join his fellow heroes in a meeting of the Justice League. Across the universe, the United Planets meet on a desolate moon, scouting the area for a new base. The Temerian member says that they can terraform the planetoid to be able to be the first United Planet base. Suddenly they are attacked by Mongol, who says that the United Planet's dream dies now. The Thanagarians attack the Warlord, but nothing stops him, saying that they have denied him his kingdoms, so he will deny them this united world. Superman soon arrives, smashing into Mongol as he apologizes for being late. Mongol reveals that he came there to kill Superman in front of the other United Planets members and to right many wrongs against him. The Temerian forces attack the Warlord with their dragon, but as Mongol merely shakes off the warriors and their war creatures, Superman calls everyone back as he smashes Mongol. The Dominators soon launch an attack on Mongol, but the fire rains down on Superman as well. The lead Dominator tells his men to stand down, since no one told them to attack, but it's too late since in the confusion, Superman's attention is taken away from Mongol, who uses the chance to knock out the Man of Steel, smashing him over and over as he calls the United Planets hypocrites for calling for unity. Superman issue 19 was leaps and bounds better than the previous issue, since instead of having Superman just kind of go about his usual business and just being a hero, Bendis actually got into the nitty-gritty stuff, like having Superman employed at the Daily Planet and the pros and cons that come with that, and what Perry White has to go through to keep him employed. I thought that was was really brilliant, and it's here where Bendis shines as he explores that in a really fun way, showing them that the insurance policies can go over now thanks to Superman working there, and Lois bringing up the point that Superman has always kind of been involved in the Daily Planet, which he really has, and there's been nothing changed except now that people know he works there. There was also a great moment with Trish, Q, and Clark that for me was the highlight of the issue. I really enjoyed that part, and it shows Trish Q had a little bit of character development as well. The Mongol fight at the end was fun and added a little bit of action into the story, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing if Bendis can keep this momentum going into the next issue, and what other things that Superman has to now deal with in his life as Clark Kent, now that that has been revealed. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.